And we are live. We got a good show tonight, guys and gals. It is November 15th, 2021. In today's show, I am welcoming our two guests. We currently have the Moose and the Cool, Mr. Zero Cool RF. What's up, boys?
Good evening. What's going on? SMT
I'm ready, dog.
Yo, DJ, kick the music.
I'm ready, dog. Oh, my God.
All right, we have a tremendous, incredible, kind and generous donation from Nimmer. Thank you for all that you do, man. I appreciate it. A $50 super sticker. Oh, wow, man. You're really very generous, Nimmer. Thank you, man. Appreciate it very much. And you've always been so supportive of the show. And you're always here on the live streams and watching all the videos and commenting. I appreciate the engagement. I appreciate the support. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you, man. We just put Yasmin to sleep. Usually she comes in and crashes around this time. And she likes the super stickers. You know? Who do we got here? Who's with us today? We got Barry. Appreciate you. Hashtag Mod Squad. Who else we got? We got Baby Yoda. He'll be mod squatting as well. We got Ethan here. Of course, Nimmer. He's in the house. Appreciate you, Nimmer. Give me some motivation. Let's get the party started. Nothing like a $50 super sticker to get the motivation going. Absolutely. Big shout out to Qais, Ashay. We got Zeke. Oh, hashtag SMT patrons for all the Patreon crew. Michael is here. We got Willie in the house. We got the homie Chame. Yeah, he's here. Wash hands. Oh, man. What's up, Sofac? We got Joeseph. Lurk. He'll be lurking. What's happening, buddy? We got Chuck is in the house. Pat, we are live. Indeed, absolutely. Yes, shout out to Los Mobile and Stetson's review. I thought Stetson did a really good job. I think he covered everything. And I do feel like he did a very solid and comprehensive job covering all the angles. He talked about the priority. He discussed the experience, his usage, who it's for, those types of things. I thought he did a really good job. It was a very good review. No surprises. I think Stetson does a really nice job, personally. I know a lot of the SMT Nation watches his content. So I definitely support him and what he does, and I thought he did a great review. What's up, JC? You got the avatar with the shirt off. Chill out, bro. We don't want no problems, man. You got all the muscles and stuff. Relax, bro. It's all good.
You know? We don't want no problems.
We don't want no problems, dog. Anyways,
hashtag
man.
shirtless.
I know. We're shirtless backstage, bro, with the chesticles out, Topic-wise, we're going to talk about T-Mobile's declaration today. Jeez. They declared 200 million pops of 5G ultra capacity. And then they also did a little bit of forward-looking insight about the rest of the build.
They also talk about some blasphemous content.
Yeah, so I'm sure Moose will go in, he'll let it rip a little bit.
Oh, man.
And I think me and Zero Cool try to level things out a little bit because I know Moose is going to put it on thick. So so we'll talk about all that. We'll talk about I think also the N71 build is important. There's a couple things I want to mention about these pops numbers. I think this is really important to note. Pops is not a measure of square mileage. So when we use the term pops, that's terms that carriers like to use because it's not indicative of actual exact coverage. It's more indicative of like where they have some towers with that gear. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But I mean, it's meaningful and we'll discuss it. We'll look at their competitors and where they stand with their coverage. Moose, we kind of laid out the framework for this kind of earlier today when we spoke. So we'll drive it all home. And then, of course, the AT&T. I got rumors, I got speculation, I got confirmations on AT&T fiber developments. So a lot to talk about, Moose. We got a lot, man. Zero Cool, man. Appreciate you for being here, man. Thank you, guys.
I can't wait to hear Zero Cool's opinion about all this stuff.
Well, I got one, as we know, point of presence stands for pops, right? Well, I kind of like to call it point of popularity because we know T-Mobile has none.
We should just start calling it point of Zarg nuts. That's about it. Points of. Oh, wait, what planet is it? Zorb.
Zorb.
What's up, Matthew, George, Michael? Yeah, I agree, Pat. Most definitely it is. Austin is here. Good to see you. My fiber is, I'm just waiting for them to connect the house. They buried everything. We're good to go. They're just going to have to run a line to the house and give it a splice in, and I think we're good to go. It just gets activated. Nah, no hashtag SMT OnlyFans. We're not doing that, dog. Not happening, Chief. Thanks, guys.
Oh, shit.
No, stop it, Ethan. Stop the madness. All right, let's start first with the initial news from this morning. All right, so T-Mobile hit 200 million pops for the 5G ultra capacity. That's the N41, the mid-band variety of their 5G. All right, so that puts them, I think they said they wanted to get to 200 million pops by the end of the year. It's midway November, right? So that would leave a couple of weeks here in November and then through December. That makes it seem like they're ahead of schedule. What do you think, Zero Cool? Where are we at with this?
So there's a couple things I want to say. The 200 million pops of ultra capacity, I do not think is a big deal at all. I'll tell you why. A couple of reasons. One, because the difference between Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile, like Verizon, AT&T, if they say I want to put out, I'll just throw X number, like 250 million pops of 5G coverage, right? We'll say just low band coverage, right? The difference between those two carriers and T-Mobile is that those two carriers will always exceed that. They'll say, well, Verizon especially, like we'll say, we asked for 250, we put out 300, or you know what I mean? Every deliverable that Verizon has, they exceed it. Versus T-Mobile, where they just say, hey, we met the mark, right? You notice that the press release is, oh, we hit 200 million, whatever. That's what we announced a year ago, right? Versus the other carriers they always go above and beyond. So the other reason is the the 200 million pops is just what is expected of them. That is not a measure of, in their words, breadth and depth of coverage. The real build plans are happening in next year, 2022, 2023. I know. Seen them. And it's just, that's when you can say, hey, we built a nice ultra capacity network. We have the coverage. We have the capacity sets. We have the overlayers, stuff like that. So, don't get me wrong. It's the 200 million pops. That's like saying, hey, it's out there in the market. It exists. Is it great? Is it fast all the time? No, it's not. Does it get bogged down? Is there some capacity issues? Yes. Right. So, we have to be cognizant of that. It's good to celebrate, but it's just, to me, I think the celebration should have waited until end of 2023, in my opinion. At the end of 2023, you guys will really notice a huge difference, because one, you'll actually see the towers. You get to see them in real life. You'll get, not only that, you'll get to experience the 5G, the ultra capacity, the 2.5. I just think
huge.
Hashtag huge build plan, right? I think today's celebration was, that's like saying I'm gonna, it's just calling on a measure that you said, a year ago. It's like predicting baseball games. I think it's fine for them to celebrate, but I think they have a lot of work to do. There's a lot of things that need to be done. There's a lot of sites to be built. So that's my 2 cents.
Go ahead, Cha-Cha. You can go in.
Look, ever since you told me about Sandusky Market, right?
Oh, you remembered that, Moose? Yeah, the Sandusky Market. That's right.
I'm still in shock, man, that they can call that an entire market lit up with N41 when it's just one cell site, dog. God damn. First of all, we have problems getting N41 into the bakery, okay, which is not even 5 blocks away.
Yeah, there's a macro 5 blocks away on a, I don't know, 2 or 3 story building.
So it's clearly higher than a normal cell site, okay, which is only like what, 35 feet? Zero cool, couple. It's like
not that much.
It's story and a half.
It's like it's literally 5 blocks. It's about 2,500 feet.
Right. But I'm going to tell you this, and the thongs are going to be out here very soon. Okay. C-band is going to be able to penetrate the bakery. Definitely. I'm almost willing to bet on it.
Yes.
I'm almost willing to bet on it. An N41, which is a lower frequency, physically speaking, physics, okay, dictates that a lower frequency signal will be able to penetrate better walls and objects, right? But because it's such a narrow antenna, and we already know that T-Mobile just has issues overall. Who knows if it's a power issue? Who knows if it's a, just an overall networking issue? But their service, man, Chacha, it's not good, man. You've been testing it, right? There was Edge, dog. God, I cannot believe this, man. We're in 2021 and we're still getting Edge. You can't even make a phone call on Edge.
I couldn't.
That was maintenance being done.
Yeah, I mean, we've been doing maintenance for.
There's a lot of maintenance. I'm just gonna say there's more maintenance. There's a lot of maintenance.
But back to the 5G ultra capacity piece. The clear thing that must take place, and this is why I think Zero Cool was saying, well, let's have this conversation in a couple of years, end of 2023, is the densification process is what's really meaningful. Right now, for a lot of people, they're either not seeing the 5G UC in their particular market, right? There's not a lot of it, or they're finding it and it's like more like hotspot islands, right? So you go to a particular place and you find it, you connect to it, you're getting 400 or 500 megabits per second. It's good, but you're not finding it uniformly. You're not going from one site to the next connecting to the same ultra capacity band. So that's essentially what I think Zero Cool is saying. We're going to start to see a more of a semblance of like how they have AWS, like how they have PCS. Like that's the impression I'm getting.
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
And on those same sites, they'll have N71, for sites that don't have it. And then you start to get a real layer cake once they start building millimeter wave. That's their word. They use layer cake. And in my opinion, when we see these really bogged down, slow speed tests and you see people having buffering video and they're connected to N41, those are situations where the millimeter wave has to happen. So networking is a layer cake approach, as they call it. It's you need low band and mid band and millimeter wave. And I'm a big fan of millimeter wave, but we can't sit there and pretend like the work is done just because we hit 200 million pops. The bigger issue is the fact that it's not uniform, and then we don't have any millimeter wave to speak to. So, these situations where there's a lot of people, and we've got people going back to football games and we've got college stadiums and arenas and, I don't think there's anything to really celebrate. So I respect Zero Cool's astute, account of this. I think he's right. I think you have more of a celebration when I think your network is more similar to the coverage of your competitors and the 5G ultra capacity is more uniform. It just needs to be available to more people and it should be more meaningful. We shouldn't be driving and connecting to 10 different cell sites and 2 or 3 of them have ultra capacity.
Yeah, let me
it should be 7 or 8 of them,
Let me put it this way. You should be able to see either a 5G band 41 serving cell, okay, in your house or a neighbor cell. If you don't see either of that, it's not good.
Yeah, because that means you're probably 3 or 4 sites away from one.
Exactly, right. So that's what needs to happen for next couple of years. So be on the lookout. This is it's going to be what do they say? Hot and heavy next year, or putting it on thick next year, right? Yep. So if you think it's good now, just it's going to be really, really good next year and next year after that. And we'll be able to see it's actually this is what I would like for everyone that's listening right now. Between now and early next year, I would like to see some screenshots, and only in your house, right? Don't do it outside.
That's the tough one,
But I
right?
want only in your house. I want to see that band 41. I want to see N41, and I want to see what the ratio is. See if you have it, and let me know.
Okay, hold up. Let me say this. That indicator might say it's UC, but the speeds don't indicate that it's UC, and the ping doesn't indicate that it's UC. That's how I know.
I can confirm what Moose is saying. I connect to at least 2 locations on my commute to work that 5G UC pulls up on my iPhone or my Pixel. It says 5G UC and it's not. There is no 5G UC in those neighboring cells. I can 100% confirm it because I can pull up to those sites. I know these sites.
It's pretty bad that the UC icon is faster than the throughput itself.
Yeah, it's quick to pull up, but there's
exactly.
Yeah, so I don't know what the configurations are. I have no idea how the firmware works with that, but I'm just saying it's no guarantee. I mean, usually it is accurate, but it's no guarantee. I've had it a couple of times. I pulled up the Signal Check Pro and it's like 66.
I could shed some light on that. Markets have 100 megahertz, okay, and at least 3 towers around you. Kind of like how the T-Mobile home internet, you need a cluster of towers. It's that same principle, except for markets need to be in 100 megahertz. Then you'll have that wonderful UC icon that just blips and goes away.
I mean, the speeds are fine. I'm 100, 130 megs. I don't have a problem with the performance, but it's not N41 that's connecting to it when it's pulling up the icon. I mean, I know the sites. I can pull up to the sites and I can look. I know what the 2.5 gigahertz panel looks like. It's pretty unique. It's very square. It's it's smaller than the other stuff. But it is what it is. I just hope that it performs for people and people are enjoying it. Some people get really nice performance on their home internet, so they're digging it. Some people are getting congestion alleviated in their market. That's good. See, then they were never really congested here in my market. They're congested in Moose's market. I think in Moose's home market as well as his work market.
Very congested. Oh my gosh, man! Wait, you're talking about Verizon?
No, the T-Mobile.
Oh, T-Mobile is even worse, man. In LA,
see, they're not congested here. Their market shares, it's the least of the big 3. It's the lowest. They have high prepaid market share here. Their postpaid is like they're the bottom. So they never really had congestion problems here. Verizon had some moments, but they've really supplemented their network with small cells and lots of CBRS and millimeter wave. AT&T did a lot of upgrades the last 2 years. It's incredible. Pretty much every site is 100, 200 megabits. I drove by a site today on my way home from work, peaked at 350 on LTE. Really fast, right? And it was right by a fire station. So fast, dude. I looked up at the gear on there and it didn't seem like anything spectacular. To me, it's just, good backhaul. And I think the uplink was like 70 megs. It was really good. So I'm excited about C-band. And this is why we pay Chaim the big bucks here. Friend of the show. C-band will be launched in 2035 per the FAA. I'm not going in an airplane until the FAA changes all the altimeters in their planes. They have every aircraft operator change those altimeters. Till that happens, I'm not flying. I'm driving, dog. What do you got to say about that, Zero Cool?
Well, I think most people respect the FAA's regulations about cell phones on planes. The first FAA carrier that will be, if the FAA says to do this, they have to either change altimeters or change the frequency, one of the two, or both. But the first carrier will actually be completed and actually done properly is actually Delta. So Delta is actually the safest out of all of it, and actually done some studies.
They could tune up to what, 4.4 gigahertz?
Yeah, 4.4. Your center frequency.
It's so far
4.45 or 4.35, just whatever You want to
Dude,
use
block A is 3.7 gigahertz.
Mhm.
And then the altimeters are running at 4.2. They can run up to 4.4, right?
Yeah.
That's so far.
You really don't need that much bandwidth for your altimeter. You actually, what happens is you actually hone on about when you're landing. You actually hone it about I think it's about 10 to 20 megahertz variable bandwidth depending on your altitude level, right? So it doesn't. They really don't even need that much.
By the way, I did a little homework on it. It looks like planes have like 2 or 3 redundancies for landing and taking off.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I was explaining in the past show about that backup 9 gigahertz radar. That's actually in the nose of the plane, right? They actually, yes, they do have backup altimeters. They have backup radar systems. They also have what's called a SATCOM, so where basically a GPS via SATCOM, because they can connect via satellite to talk to other air traffic control stations and other airplanes via satellite. That's also another backup of theirs is SATCOM. So.
Hey, Kamikaze Kid, thanks for the super chat. T-Mobile in my market rocks, and it's fast. I can't wait for mine to be I just need it better by my house. It's pretty good everywhere else. Lots of speed. I just need it better performing at my crib. That's it. I'm trying to use it more. I really feel like if Sprint could have just upgraded my home site before they decided they wanted out of the business, I'd be in a better spot. But I think the last time they upgraded that site was probably like 2017 or something. So it's just a little long in the tooth.
Doug?
What's that?
That means that Sprint never had good market share in your area.
They never did.
Yeah.
They never did. They probably had 11% market share or something like that. Yeah, they really struggled in the CLE. They weren't good in Ohio. You know, I think what Sprint did wisely was wherever we have a stronghold, let's not lose these customers. Let's just build our best networking out there. You know, so
I'm still surprised, man. Dallas, huge Sprint market, man. Huge.
Texas, I guess, was good for Sprint.
Yeah.
I had no idea until I started following, some of the guys here in the community.
There was a way back when in Ohio. I'm trying to remember what markets in Ohio, but there was actually a frequency swap. I think it was Altel back in the day in Ohio, and Verizon actually gained a lot of spectrum from Sprint in Ohio. That's what made part of the reason what made Verizon really king in Ohio.
It was Altel, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. You think it was PCS?
It had to do with PCS and AWS frequencies.
Oh, as an update, Verizon has completely refarmed all of the 3G PCS over to LTE.
That's awesome.
Beautiful.
I can confirm that because I was never connecting to PCS on Verizon. Now it anchors 5 megahertz. So I get the feeling like we're gonna see a combination of band 5 and band 2 anchoring the first C-band deployment, right? So
band 2, band 5,
band 2 and band 5. I don't.
And 66.
Maybe AWS. Yeah, maybe
66,
because that's really their big thing here. Like their tower grid is built on a 66 footprint. Like you're on low
band 13,
when you go from site to site. No, not here, dude. When I go from site to site, I'm on low band for literally 1 second, and then it switches to a mid band. It's crazy dense here. AT&T spends a little bit more time on low band, and T-Mobile spends the most time on low band, whether it's 12 or 71. And it's just the difference in density, Sprint's definitely or T-Mobile's definitely better than it used to be. It was really bad before Moose. It was awful. You drop calls anytime you do a tower handoff. It was so bad.
So I want to say for this 200 million pop 5G thing, a lot of that, about probably 58% of it or more, was due to existing Sprint keep sites where band and N41 was added. Just throwing that out there for the dark nuts in the room.
All the Zarg nuts know that it's a conspiracy theory. But so that's why I think Zero Cool, you're less impressed by this.
Exactly. The reason why I say this is because it's a lot. okay, so a mod on a tower takes literally like, I mean, if they did it extremely fast,
It takes an afternoon. I've seen the guys do it on a Sunday.
About 3 hours to do,
Yeah.
right? So
I saw guys do it on a Sunday.
yeah, so building a whole news site, $1 million site, it takes a lot longer, right? So this is just I don't know. Like I said, a couple of years from now, the conversation will be different. The conversation will be more about parity. The conversation after the end of 2 years is going to be, Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile will have pretty much the exact same coverage. I seriously believe that.
I don't think so.
No. Well, as far as from a macro based approach, I'm not
also talking about in building.
I'm not counting in building. I'm not counting small cells. Okay, I'm just counting strictly macros. Okay. We know that T-Mobile needs
maybe in New York City, maybe in Chicago, maybe in some of these suburbs. Maybe once you go rural, dude, there is so much work to do.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely need
Nevada. I get the impression based off of Carlos's live streams, Nevada is a wasteland for T-Mobile tower sites.
Yeah.
They're going to want to really push the N71 signal as far as they can humanly do it. They're going to put it high and let it fly, and they're going to power it up as much as they can, and they're going to hope that it gets from one site to another. This is the same conversation we've had about Dish. We honestly feel like, they're just trying to push the signal as far as it can, but that's not going to do it in 5G in the era of densification. So I've always said time and time again, the best carriers are those that embrace the grind and just bite down on their mouth guard, and they just spend the money and build. And I don't care what AT&T's motivation is, FirstNet, whatever. They're densifying incredibly in rural America. Look at what they did in Nebraska. What was their coverage like prior to FirstNet?
Horrible.
Now it's a legitimate network in Nebraska. And before, when it was only Verizon. And I think Sprint had a decent foothold there too.
Yeah.
So you had two carriers. Now you can have three, if T-Mobile decides to build. But you can't just sit there and trying to push the signal. I think it's a problem. And then people are going to see ping times through the roof. And then they're going to see congestion. You're going to say, I'm in the middle of nowhere. How am I getting congested speeds? The signal's strong. You know what I'm talking about, Zero Cool. When you see a connection and you test speed, you're like, how is this happening? That's because it's monkey business. Seriously, you're gonna build a rural network with Zarg nuts? Come on, dog, it ain't happening.
Yeah, I wish the strategy was different. I wish it was like Verizon's. I wish what kind of irks me a bit is where is the 24 gigahertz, the 39 gigahertz, all that spectrum that they bought.
That's expensive to deploy.
Put that to use.
They don't own fiber.
Nope.
Right.
And they don't look. Zero Cool, you just said it. It's easy to upgrade pre-existing infrastructure.
Yep.
You can do it in an afternoon.
Yep.
You could do it in a week.
Yep.
But densifying a network where you have no footprint is hard. The one thing I don't understand is they're investing in retail space before they build their network out there in rural America. That's weird.
I can see why. I know why they're doing that. It's because in order to the name of the game is customers, right? To get the retail presence, to get the customers in the store, that funds your network build out in those areas pretty much, right? You need that.
See, I have a problem with that, dog. I don't think that's the right approach. I think you build some sites and then you could start selling those people service.
They don't have money to build the sites until they get the customers in the door.
That was my point of emphasis in my video today. I don't know if you you tuned in, you saw it, you commented. Yeah. You got to kick up the capex. I think if you kick up the capex, then I think more people start believing in what you want to do.
It's a very two-way street. Like, what's the ratio of network coverage to store expansion, is that's based on like what we call market decisions, to where you need X amount of capacity, then you need X amount of customers, right? So, right, it's a very it's a dicey game, is what I'm trying to say.
They can take customers from AT&T and Verizon because the pricing is better. There are customers who most definitely are a little frustrated with Verizon pricing, maybe the AT&T experience or whatever. They would say, well, if I can save 15 to 20% on my bill, in some instances, if they were to downgrade their priority, they might cut their bill in half. But you just got to have tower sites up.
Oh.
You can't be 60% on USA Comnet and US Cellular. It's not going to cut it. Got to put tower sites out there, and I don't know. They were talking about the whole 5G UC and the pops, and all I think about is, if those pops are so meaningful, why aren't people fleeing Verizon and AT&T yet?
I feel that, way back in the day, Verizon did it right. They did start off with towers, and they expanded the stores. They did the towers first and the stores, right? I think the way the 5G, the way the industry is changed to where it's like the opposite now.
Yeah, maybe.
It's,
me personally, I just think that's the T-Mobile approach. I don't think it's the industry. I think it's them.
Yeah.
I still don't see like Verizon and AT&T playing it that way. I see that's T-Mobile's thing. Like, it goes back to the John Ledger era. It was always fake it till you make it. Just continue to try to convince people without actually doing it or showing it yet.
Right.
Like it's business, and that's just how American business is. You could say whatever you want. It's business. You could lie through your teeth if you want to. It's business. I mean, hell, look at what Marcelo was selling us for the last 5, 6, 7 years.
I remember probably before him, he was upset about the Sprint hamster commercials. I'm thinking, oh, geez. what marketing genius decided that? That'll definitely get people in the door.
Yeah,
either that or I'll get him a hamster, one of the two.
I mean, they tried to tell us, hey, all the networks are within 1% of, they're the same.
No.
It's like, well, why? How come every time I call my friend on Sprint, it goes straight to his voicemail? Like, what are you talking about, dog?
It should have been, it's just 1% of voicemail. That's what it is.
You get voicemail 1% of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to me, I think I envy, and I'm a little jealous of the people that have the really nice N41 builds in their markets, because I see the results, dude. It's really nice. I see people even in rural America. I get the impression that 2.5 gigahertz will shine in rural America. It seems like the perfect mid-band for rural and spaced out places.
It is. I mean, I always think of it this way. You have your 2.4 Wi-Fi at home. Everybody has Wi-Fi, 2.4 gigahertz on Wi-Fi, right? The 2.5 is going to be the exact same thing. Everyone's going to be able to get it eventually and have it. It's just going to be on a tower. It's just going to take time, but that's the end goal. I mean, you're going to have eventually. You're going to have by year's end, 2023, gigabyte speed everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's great. That's a lot better than the 400 megabytes that they're claiming now. It's just going to take density, and it's going to take a network build. It's going to take CapEx. It's going to take stores, right? So a lot of things to go into that nationwide gigabyte coverage.
Yeah, I could tell you guys, in Cleveland, it's not a 400 megabit per second average. It's probably close, but I don't think it's 400. Because we have some sites that are doing like 500, 600, but some of them also are only doing like 250. So I don't know. It might be close. I have no idea. I just think they need more sites. That's all. If they get more of the sites, connected with it, I think they'll probably be 500 megabits, probably. Because I think they're all about 100 megahertz at this point.
Right. Yep.
Yep. Unless it's a, Nicky T always talks about this, and it's a real problem in some places, where they have the fragmentation of the EBS BRS.
Oh my gosh.
And
New
they've got
York.
20-40 megahertz total.
Yeah, a lot of markets are usually about 40 megahertz, but that will get solved on the next FCC auction.
Dude, we don't even have a date yet.
I'm not going to say anything. Your FCC buddy over there. Once you're gonna announce, it's supposed to be this year.
Jessica Rosenworcel needs to give us a date.
Yes, absolutely. They need that spectrum. Here's the problem. They cannot go past. They said they want to do. They want to eventually do 121. They can't do past your 100 megahertz on N41 without it.
Well, we wanted to know like what was going to be the date of the auction, because that would have probably given us more information of what was going to happen in Spectrum Auction 110.
So every source that I've been looking at on, this is a speculation, but the sources that I've been looking at online give a date of February of 2022.
Well, that must be loose because there's nothing official on the FCC webpage.
That's loose. Yes. Yeah. There's nothing official, but that's what I've been reading.
It probably should have happened before this DoD spectrum, the lower C-band, in my estimation. Because if T-Mobile would have locked it in, it would have been nice for us to kind of know what was going to be happening.
Yeah, I think the reason why they did it first is because the DoD, it takes a bit to kind of clear, right? It takes to get off their systems and to move their frequencies and stuff like that.
That spectrum is going to be ready by mid-year.
Right. I know, but it's just the reason with the 2.5, you don't have to do it. You don't have to really,
Oh, it's ready to go, right? The repack is
exactly, yeah.
All right, Moose, you ready to get into the second part, dog?
Oh man.
Big shout out to RFK Tech. Thank you for the super chat, bud. He says dump skunk. That's Ricky with the dump skunk campaign. Just so you guys know. Okay. Word on the street is that AT&T fiber is going multi-gig in several trial markets. As we speak, people are getting multi-gig AT&T fiber. Now, why is this important? Because the SMT is getting AT&T fiber. Kick the music, DJ.
Oh man!
All right, Moose. How much is too much, dude? We're talking 2 gigs, 5 gigs, 10 gigs. What are we talking here? Right? Okay. Like, what's too much? What's too much?
Let's put it into context. Sneed had the inside track on this for months, if not almost a full year plus.
That's facts.
Sneed talked to me about this. He was like, "Dog, it's coming. Just wait." And then obviously the pandemic situation, the national fiber shortage.
We had some setbacks.
National fiber shortage. I mean, international possibly fiber shortage. Dog, we're talking a full year that this could have already happened. The upgrades, the fiber increase in speed. Raleigh, North Carolina, as of today, officially, Reddit was the first to the scoop on it. There are certain addresses in Raleigh, North Carolina that already have multi-gig up and running.
Moose, I have been able to confirm 3 locations for multi-gig.
Wow.
I have been able to confirm. Well, somebody contacted me from Dallas, sent me an email, and he confirmed he was getting multi-gig. I got Raleigh, North Carolina, and we got the CLE for trial on multi-gig. So all of this is confirmed. We're seeing this. This is live. All right. The only thing is, when are the populace going to start seeing this? That's what we want. That's what we need to know. That's what we want to know.
I know Zero Cool and I, we talked a long time ago. We know that whenever a company does something, it's relatively quickly if it's already being trialed in other markets.
Correct.
Less than 60 days. Less than 60 days, and it's going to be everywhere.
Yeah. Could be a month or 2.
Yeah.
And then we're good to go.
Less than 60 days.
I would love to have 5 gig. I cannot tell you the things I would do the 5 gig.
Well, the question becomes, what can't you do? It's
Right.
limitless, right? Like
Yeah,
if you're
I
an
would
enterprise business, I mean, personal, whatever.
I would definitely put my millimeter wave license to use
There
without
you
a 5
go.
gig backhaul. Oh my
Because you'd have a
gosh.
legitimate backhaul, exactly.
Yes. Oh,
Also, we're hearing about pricing is based on those that are getting first market access. It's 2 gig is $110 and 5 gig is $180. That prices it better than all of the multi-gig services that I could find.
yes, absolutely. That's incredible price. I mean, I was
Sofek got it in
paying
there too. He got the same information, it looks like.
I was
Yeah, I
paying
got
200. I was paying like I think it was I can't remember, 240 for a gigabyte business class at Spectrum, and the pricing is just I love that. I would definitely get a 5 gig. That's comparable. That's a good price.
I mean, I think it's fair. You know, when me and Moose got the scoop on pricing from the first initial, you know, anybody who was willing to confirm what they were seeing, they were indicating, you know, that price. I said, dude, people would pay $100 for a gig. You're gonna double up and give them 2 gigs for an extra $10. I'd say that's fair.
Yeah. Yeah, I was talking to Sneed when we saw this on Reddit, the official pricing, 110, 180 for 2 and 5 respectively. Dude, you can even go to the bank on this. 10 gigs is not going to be $400. It's probably going to be 360. 10 gigs. 360, 380. It's not going to be that expensive, man. Comcast is shaking in their boots now,
dude.
dog.
Oh yeah, big
Comcast
cable.
is
Yes.
fucked
Yes.
because there are
cable
markets
operators.
no, zero cool. I'm telling you,
Yeah, dude.
Comcast is shaking in their boots right now because
Yep.
there are markets like Houston where AT&T fiber competes directly with fiber from Comcast. Comcast is over $200, and there is additional, limits, right? Sneed, there you have to pay an add-on to not have the data cap. I mean,
It's
Jesus,
50
Cox.
It's an additional $50, Moose.
That's right. And then now Cox, the same situation. Cox, you have to pay to get the limit off, the data limit off.
The fact that Comcast, Cox, Spectrum is going to have to they're doing the cheaper route of eventually going DOCSIS 4.0 and eventually installing those amplifiers versus what they could do is get rid of all the coax and install fiber. Yes, it'll be more expensive, but it's just like providing 2 gigabytes over 5 gigabytes over a coax line. There's only so much RF energy you can do, even through an amplifier, because amplifier is just heating up your RF energy through a copper core conductor, right? That's eventually it'll fry. Okay, fiber, you don't have that issue, right? That's why all your on your cell towers, all your radios are on fiber trunks. Hello, big surprise. So I think it's incredibly stupid for Comcast and the cable companies to go a DOCSIS 4.0 solution with amplifiers when they know this is a band-aid. Okay, they'll probably switch to fiber eventually after they do DOCSIS 4.0 because they can only push so much through that pipe.
Here's the thing. Wireless ISPs don't want to mess with coax, dog.
Nope.
You see what I'm saying? Like, you need to multi-purpose your fiber. Fiber to the home, fiber to the node, fiber to the millimeter wave, fiber to the CBRS, fiber to everything, fiber to the tower site, the macro, fiber to the business. People don't want cable. Stop trying to make something good that wasn't good to begin with.
Yes.
Stop trying to invest in the only advantage, and I agree with no radio on this. The only advantage that coax has is time. It's just been there longer. It's already in the ground, right?
Yep.
That is it. It is a last resort to doing anything with connections. Cable is trash. Fiber is the truth. Big shout out to Interactive DNA. I was paying for Cox Business $125, 30 down, 2 up. Horrible internet. I'm now with T-Mobile Home Internet. 8 months now, streaming in 4K. It is absolute trash, bro. Cox
That's
is.
a
Listen,
perfect example.
I think. I wish I knew how to speak Brazilian Portuguese. I think that's where Interactive DNA is from. I would say. I know garbage in Spanish is basura, so it's basura, bro, in Espanol. But I will tell you, it is garbage can residue. All right.
Oh my god!
Didn't know I knew how to speak that stuff, did you?
Pure Huda, man. It's horrible.
Yeah, Huda, exactly. Huda.
No, it's worse than trash, dog. It's called mierda. You see?
Oh,
It's
mierda.
like
Right.
nasty.
That's that moldy
that was
crap.
The word, yeah.
That's that residuals, bro. Damn.
Oh god,
Garbage.
residuals. So let me ask you this. So I was talking
Big
to
shout out to
Sneed
Ethan.
earlier.
Thanks for the super chat. Let's get him an F for everybody out there who has AT&T DSL.
I mean, well, check this out. Those
I had
people
DSL.
eventually are going to get. Those people are eventually going to get upgraded, dog. So if
Eventually,
you have
but-
AT&T DSL,
Man.
you know.
Okay, so what do you want to do, Pete? Make cable great again? Throwbacks to 1998, dog?
I will say cable TV was great back then. That's it.
Yes, friends don't let friends coax. That's right.
Right.
Yeah, man, that's it. It is absolute garbage can residue. That's right. Yes. What up? What's up, Rasul? What's going on, bruh? Verizon DSL? That's got to be worse than AT&T DSL, right?
Oh,
I mean, are we really going to argue about what's worse?
It's
Trash.
DSL, man. It is what it
No,
is.
man. Could be worse. I guess it could be VDSL, right?
Oh,
no, the Verizon DSL is your ADSL. It's actually they maintained the lines a little bit better. Let's just put it that way.
I think
So-
Pete was the one who caught all the badgers and stuff tearing up all those lines.
Exactly.
So I was talking to Sneed earlier today to get his reaction live, and I was asking him, so what would you do with 5 gigs at the house? Because you know it's coming. It's already now in Raleigh. I mean, there's only so much you can do even with a gig, dog, and you're now bumping it up 5 times.
I think what you're going to start to see is, people are going to start creating more, right? Creating use case opportunities. For me, I think it's time to upgrade to a 4K camera.
A lot of 8K video stuff.
Yeah, I think it's time to start, I just got my TVs a couple of years ago, but the next TVs will be 8K,
16K actually.
Well, I take baby steps, dog. I'm a school teacher. Come on, bro. We haven't hit the YouTube thing yet, But yeah, I mean, that's what I think it boils down to. I think the live streaming becomes more reliable and more dependable. I could do more with my streaming. I could do more with the TV. I think the streaming services, watching high res video and also just uploading content. Zero cool. If I'm pushing 1 or 2 gigs on the up, whatever the servers are that are connecting, for YouTube, whenever they decide they're going to upgrade, I got a fast pace. I'm in the fast lane for that.
You do, yeah. You won't have any issues on a gigabyte uplink. I mean, the thing is that with these speed increases,
and by the way, fiber, the latency on this fiber, Zero Cool, is sub 1 milliseconds.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So the thing with these, especially on the latency front, there's, I don't want to say this. There's going to come the time to where you're not worried about latency anymore. The question becomes not about latency, how many milliseconds. The question now becomes how much bandwidth from devices can I use? Can I use 20 devices? Can I use 100 devices? Can I do 5? Can one doctor do 5 remote surgeries a night?
Can we connect 100 IoT devices?
Can we connect 100 IoT? Yes. Can we do 100 screens?
Can we do 20 point of sales?
Absolutely. Yeah. Think about bars. Think about restaurants.
Yes.
Think about
can we connect a gaming platform? Can we connect
absolutely
a point of sales? Can we do 5 4K 8K TVs all on the same network?
Right. I'm actually going to take this one step further. This is actually going to enable this with these multi-gig speeds, this is going to actually enable what we cannot do now, mind you, is transatlantic and international communications. Like we need to, like this will solve the issue of being able to, have zero latency and ultimate connectivity with like England or France or what have you, right? As long as they have those multi-gig speeds too, as long as France or England has those too, I think the world needs to adopt this. I'm not sure what the other carriers like Orange and Vodafone and Deutsche Telekom, but at least for Deutsche Telekom, I think they're on the same page as what multi-gig speeds we need for, especially here in the U.S.
Hey Pete, we're gonna close out the show here in a couple minutes, but we'll have you on Friday if you're able to come on. We'll bring Moose and Zero Cool back as well. Big shout out to Texas Marine. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for the super chat. Multi-gig is the Death Star's power from the dark side. Your faith is disturbing. Dude, Texas Marine always does this. Yo, DJ, kick the music for Texas Marine one time.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I agree. Interactive DNA cable is a dead it's a dead resource to me. It's last resort. It's just until fiber gets there, in my opinion. Just until fiber gets there. What is this? FR and UL are multi-gig.
I think he's saying frame rate and uplink multi-gig.
Yeah. I'll tell you here, cable is like CDMA. It was good in the 90s and now it should be turned into glue. That's right. Pete's been sticking to it, man. Absolutely. Cable is the new dial-up. You guys feel the same way about that?
I think cable is the new ISDN. But...
Isaiah says, long live coax. Man, you got it rough, man. Fiber is dead. What? Oh, man. Fiber, we're just getting started, dog. Dang. We're just starting to...
So, Sneed, let me ask you this. Remember back in the day when we had 128 kbps and 256 kbps, right? 512 kbps, right?
I do.
No. And then we went up to goddamn, those days were horrible. Then we went to 1 Mbps, 3 Mbps, 5, 10. Then we went to broadband 20,
25,
40, 100, 400, or no, sorry, 200, 400.
Moose, when we hit gigabit speed, like the world changed, because the amount of data you can transfer with a gigabit per second, and it wasn't painful. It was going to be quick, easy, and seamless, And I think the uplink is important too, Moose. We can't sit here and talk about all these great downlink applications, but the uplink is important, man. That's been my issue with my channel is, do I have the uplink bandwidth? Uploading videos, live streaming, mobility.
That'll get solved when massive multiple user MIMO comes out and SA. So here's the thing: with multiple user MIMO, your uplink will just be like your downlink. But the good part about the radios is that when you're going from site to site, your uplink will be consistent. You're not going to have how your uplink falls off right now, right? It's not going to be that way much longer.
Very happy about that.
Wait, so
great. Go ahead.
So what my point is that there's always this like generational leap, right? Dial up, then it went to DSL, then DSL went to broadband, then broadband went to cable, right? Then cable went to fiber, right? But fiber, I feel like there is nothing better than light. Okay, legit, it's a light through glass, right? So the only thing better than that is like teletransportation, dog. We're gonna be beaming, like in Star Trek. I love that show, man.
There is
those shows, love the movies.
There's one thing better, lasers.
Yeah, laser, but
think about what Starlink is doing with the satellites. That's gonna be
Gonna
beat out
so
fiber.
Here's the thing, interactive DNA. You need terahertz frequency spectrum to do this, and the other thing to this is any obstructions and that signal is toast. it just disappears. It never existed. So as incredible as satellite availability seems, right, because it's coming from space, it has such incredible shortcomings. It needs a lot to overcome those things. And that's going to take time, and I don't expect it to be great for at least another decade. I know what fiber can do, dog,
I mean, so going back to what I was saying, right, is that fiber, the way that I'm seeing it now, dog, is this. The equivalent of 300, 500, and 1 gig is, in my opinion, the equivalent of kbps. And I'll tell you why.
At this point.
And I'll tell you why. Because an 8K stream, Zero Code, you're going to be mind blown about this. You probably already know. But for the viewers, an 8K stream requires minimum 100 Mbps per second. Minimum.
I don't know if that's the proper math, but it's probably pretty close.
Right.
I can look it up.
Yeah, it's 8 times full HD. 8K, right?
Right.
It's 8 times full. So full HD needs. Are we calling it 10 megabits for full HD?
It's 100 megabytes for 8K.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's 60 frames a second.
Okay, it's 60 frames.
100.
Got you. Okay.
And if it's 120, right, frames per second, then it's even more. It's like slightly more than double. Anyways, my point is this: in a 2.5-hour movie, okay, at 8K, okay, if you do the math, it comes out to almost 1,000 terabytes of data downloaded, streamed. Right now, the only way that you can get that much bandwidth is on fiber, because with cable, it's questionable. It's suspect, because depending on
but
how
it's
many
a technology that's not even really commercial yet. Like, everybody talks about how great DOCSIS 4.0 and all this other. Bro, none of it's commercial. It's all in testing phases or whatever they're saying. Who cares? How do you get excited about something that has no proof of concept to scale? Dude, the cable companies haven't done anything with cable in 3 or 4 years. Or, excuse me, 3 or 4 decades. They haven't done anything since the 80s. It's the same piece of crap cable that's been in the ground. Why would I get excited about that?
Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying is this, okay? I am seeing the next revolution happening before our eyes. Because 300 Mbps, 500 a gig, that's nothing, man. Eventually, we're going to have games that are in the 100 gig plus.
Moose, how is the quality of fiber today in 2021? Dependability, uptime, like that sort of thing. Because here's Interactive DNA, who speaks to his experience with fiber. It sounds like he had a very problematic experience with fiber.
So I could speak to that a little bit. So here's the difference between fiber and cable. Okay, with fiber, you can add more fiber and splice it together, which makes a bigger core, more data throughput. Okay, for your downlink and uplink. With coax, you have to add your amplifiers, your terminals. There's no. There's the expansion and the it's just not there.
Interactive DNA, are you from the United States? Do you see what's going on in the US with fiber right now? He might be from another country, dude, because
he's on that dial-up.
No. What I mean is, everything going on right now in our country when it comes to infrastructure bills is all going to be fiber based. If the infrastructure passes, all these carriers, even the mobile carriers like Verizon and AT&T, they're going to focus on fiber heavily. While the getting is good, they will go heavy on fiber.
By the way, Biden's bill did pass today. His $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill passed today. He signed into law.
That's going to hurt fixed wireless access.
Who
cares? Because we want fiber. So who cares if it hurts fixed wireless access?
So what I'm saying is, right, is that 1 gig, 2 gigs, 5 gigs is the equivalent right now of 1 Mbps, 2 and 5 Mbps.
Not to the home. Not to the home.
No, think about it like this. We're going to have applications in the near future that are going to be in the 100+ gig range, right? For example, the latest Call of Duty Vanguard was 65 gigs on top of another 12 gig update. So we're talking about almost 70+ gigs. Right?
So he's right about this. I'll try to explain why.
Yeah.
For his needs. So basically, think about 6G using a terahertz frequencies, right? Okay, that's going to give you way multi-gig, hundreds of multi-gig speeds, right? Okay. Now think about that from a fiber perspective. Like I said earlier, you're able to splice huge amounts of fiber trunk cables to deliver multi-gig speed. Now, what in the future, what you're going to have actually is those speeds are going to be matched with your terahertz speed. Why? It's because you need the backhaul for the cell sites. Okay, so what's going to happen with fiber is in the future is that you're going to have 100 gigabyte, 200, 500 gigabytes of fiber up to 1 terabyte fiber backhaul. Okay, think about what we already have now. Okay, we already have 10 to 25 gigabyte backhaul, okay, for fiber. That's to support the cell sites. Now, in the future, with 6G, with the terahertz frequency, you have to have a minimum of 500 gig fiber.
Dang.
I was talking to some backhaul engineers. You have to have the reason why you have to have a minimum of 500 gig fiber is due to the capacity that you're going to be delivering.
So terahertz fiber will be the standard.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Imagine
pretty
that.
Imagine
it's that.
It's hard to wrap your mind
DNA,
around it.
Flip your name is.
Oh, he's in the industry where they rely on fiber heavily for their connectivity. I mean, they're recording everything in ultra high definition, massive sized files and stuff. Yeah. The fiber is becoming second thought for internet speed. Cost to the hub. Houses in the 5G tech. So you'll have the fiber to the main hub and 5G will share the connections. Okay, so fixed wireless access, are you saying? It's
a huge part of it.
Yeah, right. Fiber then goes to say 5G. Yeah, fixed wireless access, we know. But people may not want... Oh, and by the way, you're not going to get a gig uplink on fixed wireless access. You won't get the same uplink. Unless you have like the fiber to the home, you're going to get a gig down and a gig up, right? I don't know. What do you think happens with standalone? Zero Cool? Do we see a gig down, 2 gigs down, 3 gigs down, 4 gigs down, and then we see like 400 up, 500 up?
It's going to be in the near term. It's going to be over a gig. It's not going to be symmetrical right yet, but it's going to be symmetrical extremely very soon. The problem is you have to have the fiber backhaul that would support that. For example, you need at least a 25 or 50 gigabyte backhaul. You cannot do.
No small cells got that right now.
I understand that, but you cannot do a symmetrical, 4 gigabyte downlink and uplink on a 1 gig or 10 gigabyte backhaul. You can't do it. It's literally impossible.
All right, boys. We're going to come back on Friday and we're going to discuss some things. Let's let it marinate. It is only Monday, right?
I will be off on Friday. I'll be busy on Friday, sorry.
All right, he's got scallops on Friday, so everybody leave Zero Cool.
I got scallops and other stuff on Friday, man.
Prioritize the scallops. All right, in Espanol, los scallops. All right. Kick the music, DJ.
Man. It's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming, Sneed.
That's right, brother.
It's coming.
That's right. Big shout out to everybody who threw some super chats around. You guys are incredible. Thanks for all the support. I'm going to try to go back and see if I can look at everybody and make sure I give them their shout out. So thank you to Nimmer. Appreciate your super chat. Always so generous and kind. There was another one after that. Big shout out to Kamikaze Kid, who also offered the super chat. Thank you for that. And then we had RFK Tech for his super chat. Thank you, man. Appreciate your continued support as well. Ethan, big thank you to you. Thank you. Texas Marine, we got you the music. the Death Star music. So appreciate you. Thank you for that donation. And I don't know if there was any more after. I think that was it. Doctors still use pagers. Big shout out to Isaiah. I have seen some pagers lately. Absolutely. Thanks, Interactive DNA. Thanks for chiming in and discussing things with us. Appreciate it. Big shout out to Pete and all the other mod squad. Baby Yoda. Barry was here. I saw him earlier. You guys are amazing. Thanks for supporting. Let's go ahead and do this one's for Zero Cool. We'll do hashtag scallops. For Moose, we'll do hashtag Death Star. And then for your boy, your homie, let's do hashtag 2Live Crew for everybody that was here in the live, and then the hashtag Replay Gang for those watching this, on DVR. Let's go ahead and get out of here. Anything for the good of the order, boys?
Not until 2 years from now.
Thanks, Zero Cool, and
It's coming.
thanks very much, Moose. Appreciate you both. Appreciate it. We out this piece.
Peace.